As I was saying, what our it look perfect and colorful is the CSS. Just like you cannot build a house without painting in that house. If you build a house with a block, you expected to paint or plaster that house to look very attractive or very presentable. So this is what CSS does in an HTML element. It gives the element color, it gives the element a very beautiful background like the one you are seeing here. So why the, well, that's this is what the CSS does in HTML. Now there are there are different kind of three kinds of CSS. You can either use inline CSS, internal CSS, or external what? External CSS. So these are actually very important thing you need to know. Can either use internal or external CSS. Now, in the last class, I think we did a brief about a bit about internal CSS. Then we also learn about div, and also we also learn about classes. So we are going to be learning doing those things practical today. Let's see how we can build a particular project at the end of this course. Now, when you look at internal inline CSS, inline CSS has a style attribute inside of that CSS. I think we've done this the last class. Let me just show you guys something. Now, inside the this inline, the style of that particular element must be inside. Now let's say I have p tag, let's say hello world. I have to close my tag. Now when you look at this tag now, I want to add in a style. Maybe I want to turn this character, this hello world, to red or to green. This is where CSS comes in. Now for external CSS, this is how it works. We calling this attribute star as style, then equals to these two dot dot. At the end of this dot dot, you need to you need to call the value. In CSS we have different kind of values, properties, actually properties or name. Let's say I want to give this man a color of red. What I need to do is to come here and type color. Then after you have called color, this is the properties, or you call it name, of this attribute. Then here you have two dots. Inside these two dots, you're going to be supplying what we call the properties or the value. Name equals to Olisa Macaulay. That is what is just the color equals to red or blue. When you call a particular properties, you must ensure that that properties you are calling must have a value. Just like saying we're having a column where you add phone number, you expected to type phone number there. They will not, you not see a column where they call where they write phone number. You now go and be adding let's say your full name. So color I can say red, then we close. This is how you close your inline CSS. If you are print this thing out, now I'm going to be getting a red color. Now we've done a lot of things. Now in today's class, we're going to be learning about div. Then we're also going to be learning about list. We're going to be working with list. We're going to be working with div. We're going to be working with classes. We're also going to be working with fonts. A lot of like let's say like font, then style. So let's start. We are going to be building a very simple project, a very simple project in this training, a very simple project. So what I'm going to be doing here is to now come here. Let me say, okay, let's start with the external. Let's start with the inline CSS first. Then once we start with the inline CSS, you can then graduate to other ones. Let me go up. So your CSS book will be ready. I'll be using it to be teaching this night, but will be ready by tomorrow. Okay, now when you look at here now, when you look at what we are having in our screen here, now we have what we call the selector. The selector. The selector here is H1. When you look at this selector is H1 means we are selecting in an element called H1. Now we have declaration. Inside the declaration, we have the properties, we have the value, blue. Here we have the properties, font size, then we have the value, the size. Now the selector point to HTML element you want to style. That's what the selector means. Selector point to HTML element you want to style. Now each include a CSS property. Now when you come here, you see what we are having here. Here we are having P. We have P element here. Then we have the color. That means we are the selector here is P means paragraph. The paragraph, any element that has paragraph will have a red color and then text will be aligned center. So I think that's what the selector is all about. And this is more explanation in details. P is a selector in CSS. Now this P, it is point to element, the HTML element you want to style, which is the paragraph. Now the color is a properties and red is what? The properties value. Text align is a property, center is what? The property value. If you are getting me, please indicate. Say I'm in, I'm in, I'm in. So I will move ahead. Now, all right. Now, what we are going to be doing, we are going to be starting by using internal CSS. Very, very interesting. We are going to be using inline CSS. What are we going to be building? We are going to be building just a small application. Where we'll have our link, where we'll have our list, we'll have list, we'll have link. Very, very important. You have list on that application. We're also going to be working with link. Now, let's go back to the HTML. So let's start with the inline CSS first. I have my VS Code here. I think this is actually our last class. Okay, this is the last class, but not the general class. We want to go about general class. General class, I think we've done with inline, right? Are we done with inline CSS? Please, I want to know. I don't want to be repeating class. Are we done with, if I done with inline CSS, please indicate in the comment section. Let me know if you have done inline CSS. So that I'll just go directly to uh, directly to external CSS. Okay, somebody said no. Yeah. What's a general class? What's a general class? Okay, margin and padding. Before we use margin and padding, now you must use internal CSS, external CSS. But don't worry, let move forward. Let move forward. Don't worry, let move forward. Now, for instance, now I'm creating a new folder. I am creating a new folder. The reason why I'm creating a new folder is that I want to just create a new folder for this job. This date is 13, 13 job. Teach for the 13, for the 13. So I'm creating my folder as a study 13. I mean, the study I'm creating is study 13. Now, inside there, I'm going to be creating, inside this folder, I'm going to be creating a file. I can just create a file, name website. Sorry, guys. Now, I created a file, but I didn't add the extension. Remember, every HTML file must end with an extension. Every HTML file must end with an extension like dot HTML. So this is the HTML document. Now, when you look here, you see that we have created our first HTML document. Now we all know to generate HTML document is very simple. You only need to click here, then you enter. It automatically generates HTML document for you. So we all know that here is the head. Everything inside the title, inside in between this head, does not appear on the browser. Now here we have the body of our element. Another thing we're going to do now is to just say website. And actually, we're going to do this to be creating to create our first element. To create our first element. So what I'm going to be doing is to just say H1, then I close. Every opening tag will have a closing tag. Inside this H element, this is where I will write the right, this is how I'll put my write up. Anything is inside this opening tag and closing tag of this element would automatically become the header. Now let me um, get some write up. Let me get some write up so that we can use the write up to move ahead. Yeah. Okay. Yes, shift one enter. Yeah, shift one. Exactly. Then we have the videos there already now. The videos are there. We don't need to repeat it. That's why I need to be at coming classes. So what I need to do is to, if you notice here, I copy this. I need to just come here, then paste it here. I mean, I like doing my clean. Let me go to Django. Let me just go to Django. I'm getting this picture now. I'm going to be using the picture later. I'm going to be using the picture later. Okay. Django Central. I want to copy this element. So what I'm going to do is to come to my H1. I press the element. The element I'm using there is just Django Central. If other element is not needed, now in my Django Center, okay. Then I also need to get another P tag, enter to generate the P element for you. So automatically generate the P element. I don't need to break this thing down. If you break it, it won't see have effect. So what I'm going to do, let's preview our website by clicking on go live. Okay, this is what we have here. This is what we have here. And I always prefer styling my website. I thought before finish building my website before I style. Are you guys getting me? I would prefer building my website before I continue styling. So what I'm going to be doing here is to also let me get let's say let me get a picture online in between this man. I'm also going to be breaking this thing down. I'm going to be breaking this particular element from tutorial. To do that, to break from tutorial down, you can see here I already click enter. Like normal software, it automatically add break. But in programming, you need to do everything manually to enable your end users, to enable the work even to be easier for your end user. So I'm breaking the element here. To break, we need B arrow, as you all notice. Then we enter. When we come in here, you will see that we break from tutorial. I also want to break from very best. So I'm breaking from very best. This is the very best. B arrow. Then I click on enter. I can see it automatically generate an open tab for me. Now, some if you may notice here, this break does not have a opening closing tag. It only support an opening tag. It does not have a closing tag. So this is what we have here. Another thing we're also going to be doing here is to add image in our website. What kind of image do we want to use in our website? So very, very important. Listen, very, very important. So what I'm going to be doing here, I will be adding image as well. So let me get image. To add, you can there are three ways to add email. Two ways rather. You can add image internal or you can add image external. So I'm using external image. External image means I'm getting image from a different website altogether, then adding this image on my own website. For you to do that, you need to come here, get the link of that image. To get a link of this image, what you need to do is to come here, then click on open image in new window. And when you click on that, open image in new window, you see this link. This link is the link you are going to be copying. To be copying, you copy this image. So after we've copied this image, what you are going to be doing is, if you notice here, we have closing tag and opening tag of our header. Are we together? This is the closing tag, this is the opening tag of our header. Now, what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be adding this image after our header. That means this H1 will be under the image. To get an add image in your website using an external file, it is very very simple. It is very very simple. So what you need to do is to write img, this img, and you click enter. Now in this img here, we have a source. This source is the path to the image. Let's assume I want to add this image. I want to add the part of our image is within my local machine. All I need to do is just come here and click on hash and see all the directory. Then I can use any of this directory. But I'm not using this image in my local directory. So what I need to do, remember we copied a link earlier. I will be pasting the link in between this place. Can if you notice, you can see we have this link here, this link and this link. Now, if we view our site, you will notice that we now have this very big image. Okay, no, not here, rather, sorry. We now have this very big, very large image, very very large image. Now, as I stated earlier, every image has a width and a height. So we are going to be setting the width and the height of our image to fit what we need. The height we are going to be giving this image, let's just say, let me come down here because it's getting longer. The height and width are going to be giving this image, which will be give you about, let's say, uh, 40 pixel, and then width, then 250 height. Let's see what happens. Now, when you are doing that, please note that in between these codes, in between this opening code and closing code, you are not going to be adding the weight in between. It's outside the code. You're not going to be adding it. If you add it here, if you come here and write weight, nothing will happen. It will not work. It will not reflect. So you need to come here. When you come here and add WI, use the weight. You can see the weight. In that weight, we have attribute weight minus. Weight minus. So what you're going to do, calm down. I know that we have done this. Calm down. We are building. It's not a lesson. What we are doing, we are building a website. We are building a website. We bit by bit we get to know more of the advance. I know we have done this thing before, but what we are doing now, we are building. Listen so that you will understand. Um, so what we are going to be doing in there is just add the height, the weight of our website. Let's say 4 pixel, then the weight, then the weight. Sorry, I don't need to add this pixel. I don't need to use pixel. Then the height, you will know it automatically. The height, uh, the height should be 250. So that should be 250. So look at what we have here. Look at what we have here. We have 250. We have 250. I made you added as 250. You see what happened? Some people are calling me. They are calling me when I'm in class. So the next thing we are going to be doing next is just we are going to be adding internal images. Let's see. We're going to be adding internal. Um, let's say internal image inside our website. We're going to be adding internal image. So in this our study, I'm going to be looking for image. I will use. Let me look for image I will use. I'm not to get the cool image. Let me get a very nice image. Okay, I'm trying to get. Okay, let me copy this image. Let me use this image. Let me go back. I'm going back to my where I save my file. It's okay. Okay. So what we are going to be doing now is to what we are going to be doing now is very simple. We are going to be adding our image inside this study. So what I'm going to be doing is to create an image file or image folder. This image. I know that you guys have done it. Listen and learn. I know that you guys have done this. Listen and learn. We are doing more of advanced here. We are doing more. I asked you if you have done internal CSS. You said we are not done internal. If you have done div class, you said you have not done it. That's what most of you said here. You said no. So this is how we can get to internal. When we start styling, this is what you see internal and external CSS. Calm down, let me do what I'm doing. I know that we have done it. If I start doing other things now, you will not understand. So you guys have to calm down. Let proceed. Okay. What I'm trying to locate, okay, let me locate my image. Okay, this is where I have my image. I'll just copy and paste my image here. Now let's just link this image quickly. Let's just link this image quickly. To link this image, guys, I just want to just do copy and paste because some people are complaining that we have done this before. I just want to do copy and paste. Where are we? Okay, I just want to do copy and paste. Just to copy this, then paste this here. So what I'm going to be doing here is to add my image. Add my image, all I need to do is that remember I created the folder and I added the image. I have to remove this. So here is I'm going to say image. Then inside the image, I have my laptop folder. So this is it. If you then I'm also going to be changing. I'll be copying this in as well. Let me change this to a laptop. All right. Now let's see what we have here. As we have, you can see we have about two different of elements here. And that's what we're also going to do. We're going to be styling this. We are going to be styling this website using external, external, and inline CSS. I will use a bit of inline CSS, then I will use internal CSS, then I'm going to be use external CSS. So I'm using three type of CSS to style this particular object. So I want you to pay attention so that you can learn. And we are using two types of CSS to style this particular object. Now to do that, first we are going to be starting with internal inline CSS. Now, as I explained earlier on this book, I said that inline CSS has we must call inline CSS in between the element, in between the element. Let's say, for example, I want to add a color in this H element, and I'm using internal inline CSS. I'm adding it directly from the H element. Let me just give example of what I'm trying to say. Now look at where my mouth is, and I want to add this element, maybe change it to a different color. All I need to do is to come here, call in my style attribute. In that style attribute, I have my properties or value or name. I can say color. Inside that color, I can decide to give it any kind of color I want. Let's say dark blue. Then we have dark blue. Please, have we done this in our last class? If you have done this, let me go back. Let me go straightly to inline external CSS. If you have done this particular inline CSS, we've done this, Abi. Okay, then no need of going to the inline CSS again. Now, good. You can see, if you notice here, I already have this color. This color have reflected. Now, this is what we call inline CSS. You do it directly inside the HTML element using style. Now, when you notice, if the reason why we are using we are not always using inline CSS, because at a point the code will be congested, it will be crowded, it will be rowdy, and you find it very, very difficult. You find it very, very difficult. Please mute your mic, mute your mic. You find it very, very difficult to be able to arrange your code. So, in order to have a very clean code, and to have a code that is readable and a code manageable by another person, you need to use either external or internal. Like me, I love using more of a external CSS. So, we're going to be learning how to use internal CSS. Then before we go to internal CSS, then let me remove this. You can see I added this style inside the H1 element. I'm using style attribute. Now let's learn about internal CSS. Now internal CSS is done in between the opening tag and the closing tag of your head. As we all notice, the opening tag and closing tag, anything inside there is not visible to the browser. So we are doing it in between these two heads. And for you to start writing CSS, and for your VS Code to recognize that you are writing a CSS document, you need to use what we call style. Remember, during our inline, we are just writing the style inside our HTML element. But this one, we are not writing it inside our HTML element. We are doing this inside the head by calling style. Then the style also have an opening tag and closing tag. If you notice here, this is an opening tag of the style, and this is a closing tag of the style. Now, I explained earlier about what we call selector. Very, very important. Let me go back about what we call selector. Now, I explained earlier about selector so that we can understand what selector is all about. This is a CSS book. They just deliver it today. I'll be sharing it by tomorrow. Now, look at here. You can see we have selector. Now, selector is actually selector selector point a selector point to an HTML element you want to style. You can see if you come here now, for instance, we want to style H. The H here is what we call the selector. Remember, in styling, in normal inline, we are doing it inside the HTML element. But here now, it's what we call selector. We are going to call in selector directly. Calling by selector. Now we can you can to call how can we call the selector? What you need to do is to come inside this style element. This is where we are adding our selector. What selector do you want to style? We will select style H element. H. Make sure that you are it's very case sensitive. Oh. If we use capital H as your class name and you don't go and use small h, it will not work. So it is very case sensitive. Now, what I also another thing I'm going to be doing also is when you look at here, please mute your mic, or before I remove it from the class. If you look at this particular syntax here, this wasn't disturbing us. Let me remove him. No, what was the problem with this? Okay, I'll mute his mic. Now, when you look at this diagram here, you notice we have a a curly bracket open and a curly bracket close. This is open curly bracket and closing of curly bracket. It means that this place is an open tag or open element for your H1. Inside this H1, we have a color called properties. Then under the properties, you have the value. In that value called blue, then it ends here. We close this tag. Then if you want to add another color again or another another CSS again, you still repeat the same process. So you will do this um after your H element, which is after the selector. Now, if you come down here, you will see what I'm trying to say. Look at the P here. Now we are working on the H element. We want to add some. We want to add a color in our HTML element. So what we need to do is to call open tag and close tag as we have done before. Now, what are we going to be doing here? Let's just give it a font color, then give it a font size. To give it a font color, can give it a font size. To give it a font size means to increase the size of the element. Sizes, font sizes are measured with pixel percentage. You can use pixel or can use percentage to measure sizes. What we are going to be doing here is okay, let's give our font, our H1 a bigger size. Let's say H1 font size. We can use percentage, you can say 10%, or you can still say 10 pixel. Let's see what happens. Okay, if you notice here, you can see that we have our H element, where the Django is very, very small. So let's increase the percentage, 10%, just like 10 pixel. Let's increase it to 20% and see what's going to happen. So here we have 20%, too tiny, too tiny. Let's say 40%. Okay, I think my, all right, still tiny. Let's say 100%. Let's see what's gonna happen. The 100% is still small. So let's go for pizza. Then let's go for pizza. So what we're going to do, let's use for pizza. Let's say 30 pixel. Let's see what happen. I think the 30 pixel um is manageable. But let me increase it to 50 pixel. Remember, I'm doing this CSS style inside our selector. This selector here, H1. How many H1 do we have here? We have the laptop H1, then we have the Django Central H1. So let's see. If you notice, you can see if you notice, you see that the H element affected all the elements that have H1. It affected the whole element that have H1. Are we together? This is what happened. Here we have H1 element. You have H1 element here. We have H element here. Then we have H element here. It automatically affected both H elements. It affected both H elements. Now, in a situation where in a situation where we don't want to use, where we want to separate the two design, like we want to separate this man, give it a different size. We want to separate this man, give it a different size. Like we want to give it a different color, different color. If you anything you do in H1 will affect all the H1 elements. What if it's okay? We want this man to have a different color. We want this man to have a different color. What are we going to do? If you come to that H1 and add any color, it will affect to all the elements that has H1. Let me show you something. Let's say color dark, dark blue. Then let's go back. Now look at what we are having here. We are having dark blue here. We are having dark blue here. And this is not what we want. We want to give these two objects a separate color, a different color entirely. Same principle implies here. What are we going to do in this situation? What are we going to do in this situation? Can somebody help us out? Okay. Would you give it what? A class. Okay. Now we have now we need to also know what is class. I think let's go to that topic. Let's just jump to that topic. Um, Let me just search for it. Class. Okay. Now this is classes. Are we together? This is classes. Now, HTML class attribute is used to specify a single or multiple class names for an HTML element. This class name can be used by CSS or JavaScript to do some tasks for HTML element. You can use these classes in CSS with a specific CSS written dot character followed by the name of the class. A class attribute a class attribute can be defined within a style element which already given a style element tag or in a separated file using dot. Now, let me explain this very well. Classes, as the name implies, separate or give your HTML element a different identity. You give each HTML element an identity. Now, if I want to give this man identity and give this man a separate color on his own, I need to use what we call class. If I want to give this man identity, now the reason why we are using identity is so that we can have control our various section in our website. Like we want a particular section of our site to have a different color, and in this situation, we are using a different tag element for all these HTML elements. How are you going to separate or give this particular element a different color? So we need to give what we call class. Now, what class does is that class will give this man a different identity so that if I want to style only Django Central, it will not affect my laptop. So what we're going to do is to give this man class. I can say a class of H1. I can say a class of H. You can give any class name you can remember. But it's also very advisable to use a good practice naming. A good practice naming means you are going to be giving this element as the names imply. H1, or you can say Django header or the Django whatever. The same principle implies in this P also. For you to separate to give each of these two P a different color, you need to use class. So I'm giving this man class of H1. I can come here and give this man class of let's say second header or second head. Let's say second head. If you separate it, that means you are giving two classes. So not add any space. Now, as it stands now, I am giving this man a separate ID. Now, if I want to give this man a color or a background, I need to call in this class. I'm not calling this selector again. I'm calling this class. I'm using the class as my selector. Now, if you come up, you notice here, look at how we call in our H1. We just call the H1. It's not the same way in class. You call their class a different way. If you look at this H1, we are calling it as H1 because it is an element. To call a class, all you need to do, you you come down here and give it dots, then the name of the class. Sorry, guys. Dots. at the back, at the beginning, then the name of the class. Let's say the class I'm using here is okay. Mm, are we doing the right thing? Let's see. Okay. This is the class I'm using here. Look at the class here. I think something is wrong. Something is wrong. If you notice here, we're having a red dot. Let me show you guys. A red dot. Are you together? Look at this red dot now. The one I just highlighted now. So we're having a red dot. Means something is wrong with our code. Maybe we didn't close something somewhere. Okay, I think it's really something is wrong from here. We added a dot. This dot we added, you can see our color have changed. So let's get the name of our class first. I'm looking for the name of our class. Okay, this is the name of our class, second head. Let me just copy that class. So what we are going to do now is to what we are going to be doing now is to add a dot. To call in class, you don't need to add dot. Remember, when we call in H1, we didn't add any dot, we just call the tag name. But class, you need to add a dot at the beginning, then the class name. The class name, still the same principle implies. Now I'm going to be giving this man a color of orange. I can say color, dark, I can say dark, let's use color, dark orange. Let's see what happened. Remember, this second class is this selector here. Instead of calling H1, instead of calling H1, we are calling a class directly. So any changes we are making now would be within this H1. We work, we fall under this within the H1 that has a class of head, second head. Let's view our file and see what happened. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Network just something is as well. You need to just give me for example. Let me comment on this. I'm moving this now. I'm removing this entirely. Um, let's see what happened. So all the style and color we have done has disappeared. That is good. That's okay. All right. Another thing we're also going to be doing here is to create external CSS. Let's look at our book and see what happened there. To create external CSS. So to create external CSS, we need to go back. All right. Let's get to where CSS is. Here we are in color. Okay. Now external CSS. Um. Okay. Now when you look at here, we've done inline. Yes, I'm with you. Okay, that's okay. That's good. That's good. Let me do that now. Let me do that. Okay, I will do that, but I will do that with external CSS. Are we together? I will do that with external CSS, not with um, inline or internal CSS. So let's move ahead. Now, external CSS link. Like if you notice, the internal CSS is written within the H element, while the external CSS document is an external CSS file. This time around, we are creating a separate CSS file. We are not doing it inside our HTML document. Rather, we are doing it inside a CSS document. So the difference is clear. The reason why we are doing this so that we can have a clean code, number one, a code that is manageable. If you do all this in one page, if you notice your page will be rowdy, and at a point you don't know where you have commented or maybe where you have mistakenly delete a particular code, and you start giving you issue to trace that, going to be very stressful because HTML does not have a compiler that will tell you, okay, this is where the problem is coming from, unlike backend, unlike other backend programming language. So now to link your internal CSS. Okay, external rather. Let's go to external. Now, external CSS, external style sheet is used to define the style for many elements. Now, the difference between um, internal and external is that internal can only be used in just one page. Look at it now. It can only be used in just this page. While external can be used in multiple pages. Imagine that like you are building a site that has 20 pages. Your site has about 20 pages, and you are using inline internal CSS. That means each of the pages you build a separate CSS for it. So it is very stressful. So what internal CSS does is that external CSS does is that it gives you control to be able to reuse that style to another word HTML document. Are we together? Are we together? Okay, now to create a CSS element document, to create a CSS element, it's also advisable to create a folder called CSS or style sheet. There you will store all your CSS file. You are doing it this way to enable you have control or to be able to organize your project very well. In case someone want to manage a file tomorrow, you will know how to go about it. Very, very important. Now, what you are going to be doing now is to create a file, a folder inside this this study 13. Now, if you look at here, we have a folder images with this arrow pointing. That means that we are currently in this image folder. I'm going to be removing that. Then come to this place. So what you are going to be doing, you are going to be creating a folder called CSS. Local, please. CSS. We enter. Now, if you notice that we now have two folder. You now have two folder. This is CSS folder, and here is image folder. Inside this folder, we're also going to be creating another file, a CSS file, where we'll be writing all our code inside. To do that, just need to come here and click on the file. You can give it any kind of name you want. It not necessarily means that you will give it style CSS. Give it any kind of name you want. So we are building our website. I can just say, okay, my website dot every like unlike HTML document that ends with .html, CSS element will end with .css. So my star site .css. Now immediately you type .css, you will see this hash logo here. It means that this is a CSS document. If you see this logo here, it means that this is a CSS document. All you need to do is click on enter. Now this is here we have a CSS document. We'll start writing our code now. Based on what um, someone asked, how I managed to have a different color from the two headers to separate those header with color. What we use was classes. Now classes are used to give a particular element an identification. Like as we did earlier, we added H1 and we added color inside the H1. That color automatically overwrites all the elements that have H1. And this is not good. What of in a situation where we want to separate this color, give it a different color? We are not true with HTML. HTML is very, we are not true. What we are not true with HTML. What we are doing now, as we are doing HTML, we are designing, we are styling. So it's two things we are doing together. We are designing, we are styling. So basically, that's what we are doing. Now, what we are doing here, what we are doing here right now is to give our to give our H1, this H1 here, to give it a separate design. If you come to this H1, you can notice that I added a class called H1. Then that's that H1 again. I added another class here in this H1. I added another class here, second head. This second head is identity that separate this H1 from this H1, from this H1. So for me to give this H1, this laptop, a different color, I need to call this class. I need to call this class. Then I'll give this class H1. What the class will do is that any class that has this particular second head, the color will be automatically reflected. Now let me do something so that you understand what I'm saying. I'm giving this guy another class. I'm giving this one a class. Then let me copy this class. I'm copying this class to replace inside this class. That means the P and the H1 is bearing the same identity. Anything I do with this H1 will affect any of the content inside the paragraph. So let me practicalize what I'm explaining so that we can have the clear picture. What I'm going to do is that if you notice here, the H1 element was just called as H1. But for you to call a class, you're going to add dot, then the name of the class. You open that. This is how you can identify a class and also identify um, an element or a tag. Now, I want to give a background or a color or a font. I can give any kind of HTML properties or HTML value I want. So let me say I want to give a color. A color. I can give the color to dark blue or give it to bar blue or black blue. All right. We have given this second head a color. That means every identity this man, this man, these two identification will have a color called dark blue. Are we together? Please, you are following up. I just say yes. You are not following up. Let me see explain. Are we together? Okay, now let's move ahead, please. Let's move ahead. So let's visit our website and see if it has changed. Has it reflected? Has it reflected? If you have reflected, please say yes, 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 yes. Has it reflected? It has not reflected. Now, good, good. Another thing we also need to do here is okay, good. Another thing we also need to know is that we just write our CSS. We also need to link it. We can link it as much as HTML element you want. You can link it to more than 20,000 HTML elements. So I want to link it. Linking means that I want to tell my HTML element, please use this type. So to link, we need to come in between the opening tag and the closing tag of the head. Now to link your HTML element, you need to call a tag called, you need to use a tag called link. Link, as the name implies, link. Now this is a tag called link. This tag doesn't have a closing tag, it just have only an opening tag. I've called a tag called link. Another thing I'm also going to be doing is to call another tag called ref. Ref is an attribute, means the type of the file we are linking. What is the type of the file? The type of the file we are linking is Cassidy style sheet. It's a style sheet file we are linking. So that ref means what's the type of the file you are linking. Now, what we're going to be doing here is to type style sheet. This is the style, the type of the file we are actually linking. Next one also is to provide the paths for the CSS. Where do you store this CSS? What is the path? Like you notice during our linking, anchor linking classes, we learned about ref. Now ref is what we use to link it. You can either use a ref attribute to link either locally or you can use to link in a live server on your local machine. Now, we are going to be calling the parts where we save our HTML. Remember, sorry, our CSS. Remember, we store our CSS inside this CSS folder. Inside our CSS folder, we also have a file called my site.css. So what we're going to do is to write CSS slash. You can see we have this. You see what we have here. We click on it. When you click on it, you can see it ends with .css. Then we just need to just close. When we close, we come back here. Let's see what happens. Have you seen it? It are reflected. When you come here, you will see that these are reflected. Then you scroll down. You also see that this one are reflected. Now, this is how you can link your HTML document to, sorry, link your CSS document to your HTML document. If you notice here, we are now using what we call external CSS. Are we together? Are we together? What's the problem? Somebody say we are not together. What's the issue? The color refused to change. Now look at my code. Look at my code. Look at my code here. Okay. Briefly share your screen with us. Just do fast. Just you have just few seconds. Share your screen with us. Can you do that? Where did you save your where did you save your what's that call it? Where did you save your CSS file? In a folder. Okay, share your screen. Share your screen with us. Let's move ahead. Can you do that? Okay, see what you're going to do. We can't see with the camera. Ah, Victor Shime. Oh, but Victor Shime don't kill Napoli. God forbid. First one. Continue, continue. You are not sharing. No. Share your screen. Okay, see what's gonna happen then. Yeah? Okay. Let me pin your hold on, let me pin your can you guys hear me? Okay, let's see what we have. This is very stressful. Oh. So see this is very stressful. I'm not seeing anything yet. See what we do here. See what we do. What we do here is to watch the YouTube video. If you can't do it tomorrow, send me a DM, then we can do it together. Are you with me? Tomorrow, yes, yes. Watch the video. If you can't get it, do during the if you can to resolve it in the video, then tomorrow DM me so that we'll fix it together. That will be fine. It's okay. Let's continue. So let's move ahead. Okay, now another thing also going. Okay, just hold on. Another thing we're also going to be doing here, I'll be sharing it very soon. Another thing we're also going to be doing here is to have we learned about have we learned about div? Have we done div? Have we done div? I don't want to be revising what we. Okay, we did div in our last class. Good, that's fine. Let's move ahead. Okay, I don't need to recap it again now. Let's just move ahead. Now I'm going to be creating a div now. Now the reason why I'm creating a div, let me share my screen. This network is something else. This network is just something else. I swear. I will get a different this different network. Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. All right, let me just. Okay, okay. What was the issue? What was the issue before? Okay. All right, let me show you guys something about the div so you understand what is div. Now, div is actually a container. Who is calling me now? Which can one have this one? This one? Okay, what is the question? Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. What is the question? Um, okay, okay, this links, Abby. This HTML link. No, I didn't create it manually. I generated it now. Use shift one. Are you with me? Yes, I type it manually. You can generate it. See, you can generate it as well. See what you're going to do. Generate, you just need to write link. It are generated automatically. Then you write your part. Have you seen it there? Have you seen it? You can just write your part. Uh-huh. So, I'm going to just write that CSS. The reason why I did it manually so that I can explain. You understand it before we continue. So now let me go back to div. Let me go back to div. Somebody is just annoying me this night. They're just calling first night saying, "Hey, Olu." All right. Now when you look at this is div, right? A div is just a container that groups inside it. We have different kind of elements. Are we together? Eh? If you add anything inside this div now, a color or anything you want to add, it will affect all the whole elements. Are we there? Eh? It will affect all these whole elements. So this is what this is all about. To group things together and then move it in a particular site. Now the reason why I'm saying this is I want to use a div here inside this all these elements. I want to use div so that I can just say test align center. Both the picture, everything will move to center. Are we communicating? I don't know if you're doing. I don't want to come here and see move center, move center, move center. No. So to do that, I'm going to get my div and also get a class. Eh? I also get a class. I can say to write a class, to generate a class automatically without writing a class, just write dot. I don't know dot, head, header, then you enter. It does not generate a class for you. This is a div, opening tag and closing tag of a div. And I want to put this whole element inside this div. So what I need to do is to highlight and copy or cut. Then go inside here, paste this element. If you click here, you will see that you will notice an opening tag and also a closing. closing tag. Okay, a closing tag of that div. So this is what we have here. Now, what I also going to do, I also want to be doing a similar thing to this particular element as well, but not now. We will do that later. Let's move ahead. I also going to be like calling this head and aligning everything to center. And also in a situation where you want to just give all the elements one color, or maybe all the element one size. I will show you how to do that without going through the body. So I use dot, and I, what is this? All right, dot, header, then text align, then we have center. You see what I have done? Let me move this up. Another thing also we are going to be doing is to learn how to use comment. I prefer using comment because the reason why you must use comment, if tomorrow a company employ you, and before a company will employ you, maybe if you have a job with a company, you must learn how to use comment, because if you don use comment, it will be very difficult for another programmer or a developer to manage their code. So it's always advisable to use comment. We can use comments in two ways. You can use comment to 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 disable a code so that it will not be functional, and you can use comment to write the details or the functionality of our particular element. Now let me show you something. I can come here and put slash this, slash, star, then star. I say um code for header. Then here I put star, then look close. So this is how you can give your website a comment. So let's see if the text actually align center. Let's go up. Have you seen it? This is my, sorry. Okay, now you can see Django is now center. You know, we now center. So if you notice, what I did there was to add a div. What I did was to add a div in between this element. This. Now I move all these things to center. I added a class. Then I added a class. Look at it. I added a class here. What I did was to move all these things to center. All from A to Z. Can look at it here. We move it to center automatically. So that is it. Another thing we're also going to be looking at today class. I think we've done external CSS, we've done font size, we've done padding. Abi, are we done border? We're not done border. Okay. Have we done padding and margin? Guys, have we done padding and margin? You should respond now. We have done. Let's move ahead. Okay, good, good. Another thing we're also going to be looking at today is what we call link. HTML linking. We have done link before, but we have not started link, right? We have done it, but we haven't started our link. So we're going to be doing linking. We have external link and internal link. Now, if you look at here, a link, we have a on a visitor link has a color and underline blue. Why visitor link have this kind of color? Why RT links have this kind of color? Now let's go to CSS. Let me show you guys something. Link. Okay. This is our link here. This is our link. Now we are going to be, let's say, using link to create a button in this course. Also, we're going to be use link to create, like we'll go just play around with few types of link. Now, what I'm going to be doing here is very simple. To create my link, to create a link in HTML, we all know that you need to call your anchor link, right? You need to call your anchor element. You call your anchor element, then you now create a link. Let me create a link here. This is why I want to create a link. I want to create a link before this central Django. So what I need to do is to come up here and create my div. I'm going to put my link inside the container. Then when you put inside the container, we'll start creating the link. So what I'm going to be doing is to call in my div element, div, for the purpose of styling. For the purpose of styling, I'm going to be giving it a class. If you think I know what class is, I can say link. Now what we are going to be doing next is to call in anchor tag. We're having about, I want to use about let's say 456 link. To call anchor, you just need to click open, close anchor, then you close it. You automatically anchor tag must have a closing tag and opening tag. Now inside this anchor tag, this one I will write the text for the link. I will say Facebook. Inside this Facebook, then we also have and I will just duplicate. Let me just duplicate this. Twitter, Instagram, and website. Now we have about Instagram. Yes. So I copy and paste now. I copy and paste. This is what I do. Copy, Control V to paste. Control V, paste, Control V, paste. You understand? This network is okay. Can you guys hear me? You can hear me clearly now. Can you hear me clearly now? Abi? Okay. And I am concept start taking attendance. O. Okay, Instagram. Try Instagram too. Instagram. Oh, I'm writing it well. So what I'm going to do is bringing this man up here. We are going to be styling. I'm going to be doing a lot of job this night. So God should help us. Okay? I'm trying to bring this thing. The space is much. Let me just bring this thing. All right. Okay. All right. All right. All right. So we have Instagram here. Yeah, we should have uh Twitter. Twitter. Yeah, we also have website. Now, this is what we have here. Let's save this in and view it on our website. Let's see how beautiful it is. Okay, this is what we have here. You can see there is no, it's a link, but we didn't notice it. We didn't notice, but though, after that's why using anchor link, we didn't see notice it. So what you are going to be doing here is to give it. what we call attribute, a destination ref. Then I don't have any link for now. I just need to put hash. That means an empty word. It's an empty link. I just need to copy this thing and press it. Come here, press it. Come here and press it here. So let visit our website again. So if you notice, we have here why there's no space. Let's see this Instagram. 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 Okay. So if you notice here, you can see the default color is what? Blue with underline. This is actually what I explained here earlier. That it comes with blue. Unvisited link is blue and underline. So if you come, you will see it here. Blue link and underline. So I'm not adding any link for now because I don't have any link. Now, what we are going to be doing next is to start styling our link. Are we together? We're going to be styling this link. Let's see how it works. We're going to be styling this link. Now, to do that, we need to come to our CSS book. This is actually what we are going to be doing, but we are going to be working with a lot. We are going to be making it look more beautiful and look more handsome. To do that, let's come here. Now, in addition, I'm bringing this so you can see this is very well. Now, in addition, links can be styled differently depending on what state they are into. We have four links. Then we have number one, we have visitor link. Visitor a link, a normal unvisited link. Now, a link, listen to this anchor means A. This anchor you are seeing here, A, this A you are seeing here means anchor link. This particular link here, this is what we call A, anchor link. Remember, it doesn't have any other link outside there. Then it's not telling you link, A dot link means that you are styling unvisited link. Why this A link visited means that you are styling the link the user has visited. Why a rollover means that you are giving a mouse over to a link. When a user click hold over on the link, it will show you a different color or a different background. Active means that you are styling a link that is currently active. Are we communicating? Are we communicating? Any challenge? Any any challenge? I want to know any challenge. Good. Now let me recap again. If you look at these few things here, this A doesn't means that you are you are actually styling a link, a normal link, a visitor link, which is this one we have here. This particular one we have here is what we call a visitor link. It is blue in default. It is blue in default. Now, another thing also we are seeing here is that to style this one, you also pull all over. Because this is how you are going to style it. When you see, look at the diagram here, in the bottom here, you see on visitor link is this. Why visitor link is this color? So this is it. Now, active link is this. When styling your several states, they are followed. Now, all over active must come after this. So these are the pattern you are going to use to style your link so that it will affect. Another one we also have here is text decorator. Now, text decorator on our link is to remove the underline. Now, remember we have underline here. Look at this underline. To remove this underline inside this our link, you must use what we call uh, inside visitor link. We use what we call text decorator. Is known. That means that background, that under now you are seeing is called text decorator. That's what it's called. Now, another thing also to add a color background or to add a normal color, you use link color, visitor link, or visitor link color. So I'm not sure we're also going to be having, so we are just going to be doing it. Let's do it practical so that you can understand what I'm talking about. Let's go back. Notwithstanding, this is what we are looking at. We have one, two, three, four. Then first of all, if you look here, you can see that there is space in between the link. And when you come to our link here, there is no space. First thing we are going to do, we are going to add space. Or if possible, let's move our link to center. Let's move it to center. Then we add space in between each of the link. So what we are going to do is simple. We come to our VS Code to add to move our link to centralize our link, which is the link that is here, move it to center. We are going to be doing it inside this container. If you know that this has individual, so we're not going to be doing it inside this individual. Imagine I'm writing all individual code to move to center. But what we are moving this link div to center. To do that, we come to our CSS file. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to just need to copy this thing. Press here and see the code, the code for our the code for our what? Remind me. Our what are we styling? Okay, good, good. All right. Now what we are going to be doing now. Listen, what we are going to be doing now, we are going to be moving our this particular element to the center. Let me show you. So let me express something. I like when I'm teaching, I make sure that you understand very well. When you come here, you will notice inside the div, inside the body rather, you open the body tag, you see that we have a link, this link. Inside this link, you see that I have all this whole link, but you have a div that this link are wrapped into. Are we together? Are we together? I see my screen now. Good. We have a div. If we click here now, I can see we have a div that is wrapped around this list. Now that this list here, we have a div, which is this div here. We have a div around it. This particular div, they are all wrapped together. So we are going to move this all element to center. We're only going to be using a class name called link. Then we move this all container to center. To do that, all we need to do is to come to our CSS file, then to write a list, a class, you need dot, then link. Is it link or links? What do we use? Do we use link or we use links? Good. Then what you are going to do is to move text align. You can align to left, align to right, align to center. Popular one, center. So let's see what happens. If you notice here, our div is now centralized. Are we together? Our div is now what? Centralized. This is it. It is centralized. Do we understand? Do we understand? The way I'm teaching, I will teach to make sure that you understand. That's why my teaching takes time. You have to log out and come back again now. Maybe it's network. Now, another thing we're also going to be doing here is we are going to be giving space. If you see what we have here, we have space. We have a kind of underline here. We have this one that has color. While we have this one that does not have color. We have this one that has color. But notwithstanding, we are going to give space in between these two stuff. What are we going to be using? Remind me. To add space in between our two elements, we are using what we call margin. Are we using margin or margin? Please remind me again. Good. Eh? Okay. Let's come. Remember, we are not giving this margin because this element is actually is a container. So we are coming inside here. We will say okay. We can say h. Are you getting me? Anchor link. Let's try margin. It's not a class, it's just an calling. Um, Margin, let's do our 20 pixel. I'm just giving it margin round, 20 pixel. Let's see what happened if it's going to work. So now the margin, what margin does is that margin will add space in between this man. Are you getting me? In between these elements. Are we together? Margin will add space in between these elements. I mean, say, in between this, each of these will have a margin. Each of these will have a margin. Margin all round. I actually give it margin all round. Now, if you notice that the margin is too big, it's too big. I can just reduce. I can go and reduce the margin to fit whatever I want. I'm going to inspect. I like doing. When it comes to this div, you click on this div here. I click on inside there. You see that you see the margin we just added. Have you seen the margin we just added? How many of you have seen the margin we just added? Good. From here I can decide to reduce my margin. I see him. It won't reflect. I can reduce my margin. I can just do it like this. If you notice that if I give it at a point, this thing showing comma. Oh my god. Let me go back, guys. If I reload, the change will still come back to normal. The reason why I'm doing this is so that I can be seeing what I am doing. So you come to inspect. Inside inspect, you click on the element. Sorry, guys. Inside inspect, you can see the margin we have here. I can come into this margin and let me see a margin that's fit. Like, okay, you see that I have 15 pizza. 15 pizza is not good. I can still come here and reduce it to 10 pizza. 10 pizza is too big. I can still come here and reduce it 8 pizza. I think 8 pizza is okay. So that's the margin. If I close this, I know that okay, what will work this is what we're going to fit here is 8 pizza. I just need to close this man. I can still reload. It will still go back to normal. I'm just doing it so that as a developer, you will understand how to style your element even in the browser. Even in the browser, you can style the element even in the browser. So I'm just showing you how to do all those ones. Now let's go back and let the margin we have here is 20%. Let me give the margin 10%, 10 pizza rather. So we're having 10 pizza. Another thing we're going to be doing here is that to remove this background. Remember in our document we just eh, in our document we just read to remove the background, you need what we call you need what we call uh, test decorator. Are we together? Test decorator. So test decorator inside the link, inside the element that has link, you can give it test decorator to none. That means you are giving it inside the link. If now let me show you something. For example, you can say test decorator. This may work or this may not work. Test decorator can be none. That means we are removing the underline. Now let me show you another example again. So that we notice test decorator. You can see test decorator. We have different kind of test decorator. Line through. If we use line through, see what's going to happen. Do you see what happened? Do you see what happened as we use line through? Do you see what happened? I mean, obviously, what happened as we use line through? Line through. No, good and fine. Good and fine. Yes, the underline is no longer there. Now, let me remove the underline. To remove the underline entirely, you don't need to come here, test the corrector, you add it to none. If I change this thing to dash, dotted, if I change this to dotted and come to my browser, I think the dotted did not appear. It did not appear. Let's leave it. Let's go back, test the corrector. If you remove this test the corrector now and come back again, you will still have this underline. So we are looking for a way to remove this underline. We don't want anything underline. To do that, all you need to do is to just come here, sorry, test decorator, then none. That means don't need any test decorator. Then you come back here. You see what we have here. Do you see how the underline? Good. We don't have the underline any longer. Please, I want to, if you are getting me, if I say anything, just say yes. Type yes in your comment section. Yes, yes, yes. Then we move ahead. Now, another thing we're also going to be doing here is that, let's just say, um, for me, this space is too much, but I'll manage it. Now we now have the head of our website. We now have the head. We are making progress. Another thing we're also going to be doing now is to give this man a background, to give it individual background, individual what background. If you come here, if you notice in our, let's go back to our this our if you notice here, this one have individual background, this one have individual background, right? This one have different color, this one have different color. To achieve to achieve this, what you need to do is to give each of the element class, to give it each of the element a class. That is what we need to do. Class, to give it identification. Let's come here. Let's come here. Now, to give this man a different color, a different background color, I'm going to be using class. I don't know if this element is support. If I can add a class here, but let me try. Class, I can say Instagram. Instagram. Let's give Instagram a different background. Let's see what's going to happen. Do that. Come here. What is the color of Instagram? What is the color of Instagram? I'm going to. What is the color of Instagram? Okay. Now, what I'm doing here is that I want to give the Instagram a red background, a different color, red and white. I want to give only this Instagram red and white only. Then I can divide to give this man red and white. I can just give this man red and white, different kind of color. To do that, I need to use a class. We have learned what class, how you can use class. I need to use a class to work on this man independently. Now I can also come here and I click. If I click on this Instagram, you can see the class here. How many of you are seeing the class Instagram? If you are seeing it, yes, yes, write on the comment section. I want you to be an interactive class so that we are getting we are so that we are flowing along. Just yes, 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 yes. Very good. Now, what you are going to be doing next is to add this a color. This give the Instagram a color. Let me just do something here. Uh, yes, yes. No, this is not VS Code. You right click, come to the elements. In front of elements here, you right click. You will see inspect. Inspect. This what sometimes I use this to style my code. Then what I'm going to do is just copy it and go to my and add it up. To just copy it and add it up. So when they call you will see my Instagram. Inside this Instagram, there is no CSS, any CSS in this Instagram. I can just say, okay, let me just write add background color. I can write background color, but let's move ahead. Let's use our normal procedure, what we have been doing before. Now to add background in Instagram, if you come here, Instagram have a class called Instagram. So I'm going to be copying this. I will now go to Instagram. I'll now go to my CSS file. Then down there, I can say dot Instagram, add a background of red. After I've done that, when I come here, you see what we have here. Have you seen it? I will see what we have here. Now, what you are also going to be doing next is to give this Instagram a color, a different color. You can give it a color white or any kind of color at all you want. To give that a color, you need to come back here, color, and give it white, any color of color you want. You can see the color we have here. You can see the color we have here. This is the color we have, the color of the Instagram. So this is the color we have. Now another thing, if you notice very well, in this design, we have more space, right? We have more what? We have more space. So what we are going to do inside space here is what we call padding. To give a space inside the background is what we call what? Padding. Are we together? We've done padding before. So to do that, you just need to come here and write padding. You can say we are giving it padding all round. Padding left, padding right, padding center. Let's say 20 pixels. Let's come here. See what we have here. Are we together? If you are together, say yes. I want you to know if you guys are together. Please, you are not getting this. Let me know. If you are not getting this, let me know. Please, very important. Good. Now our padding is too big, so we are going to be reducing the padding to 10 pixels. It's too big again. Reduce to how many pixels chat? No, just a pixel, please, on the comment section. Pixel we can use. Let's try it. 8 pixel. 8 pixel is too big. Too big. I needed something small. Okay, let's try 4. Okay, 4 is okay. Um, I think 4 is okay for us. Let's see what we have here. This has to be in the center. This has to be in the center. So in between, okay, it's also in the center. So what we are going to be doing is to uh, let, let add margin left and right. Let's just use margin left and right, guys. Let's remove this. Let's use padding left and right. So padding right. Let's say 5 pixel. Let's see what happens. This padding right 5 pixel. Let's give 10 pixel and see what happens. Okay, 10 pixel. Then let's give it magic padding. Padding, what are we giving it again? Padding what? Please remind me. Padding left or right? Okay, good. Padding right. Let's say 10 pixel. Okay. Then we can give it a bit padding top and padding bottom, right? Um, Padding top, 10 pixel. Um, there's a way you can do this at once, so, but we'll do that later. 10 pixel. Okay, this is what we have here. And when you look at this, this is very stressful, guys. This is rubbish. What we did there is just rubbish. We keep repeating. It's just rubbish. So we are going to be using a shortcut. How we can get all this? It's very simple. You can get all this. You just add their padding, padding top, 10 pixel, padding right, 10 pixel. Let's see what happens. Do are we comma? No, remove this. Remove this. You don't need to ask me. Remove this comma. So let's see what happens. Then you notice what happened, Abi? Padding left and padding right. Do you notice it? Do you notice it? Padding, sorry, padding top and padding right. This is it. Padding top and padding right. So I'm just showing the shortcut to use in their padding. So let me just give you normal padding, just one padding, so that it will reflect 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Okay, let me give you 6, 6, 6. Padding 6, 6. Okay, 6 left, 6 right, 6 left, 6 right, 6 center. So this is what we have here. Now, if you notice, we need a space. We need a space in between our browser and the div. We need a space in between here. So let me show you guys something so that you know. We need a space. When they come here, we need a space. There's no space here. To do that, we need to come to the div. This div, this link div, we have the link div here. Look at it here. This is a link div. We just say margin top. Let's say 20 pixels. This is what I'm doing is so that I can be seeing what you are doing. You can be seeing what you are doing. Now 20 pixels. See what happened, right? If you see come back and reload, nothing will reflect. I'm doing this so that I can just see how my what they call it, how my code look like. So that's the reason why I'm using this. So let's give it the margin. So to give that margin, we need to go to our div. To give margin here, this is the div we are using. This div, where is the div here? Okay, this is the div. To give margin, to add space on top of here, like space here on top of this, so that this thing will come a little bit down. We need pad margin top. So we are doing that in our div element. We are doing that inside this container that houses this man, inside this container. So remember, in this container we have class as a link. You need to come here, come to this class, look for the class. Then you can say margin top 20 pixel. And this our I also need to reduce this to like half. Mhm. So look at what we have here. There is a space. There is a space here also. Now, what you're also going to be doing next is to I like giving border radius. So border radius is just like you having a circle, having a square, having a line at the circle. So that's what called border radius. I'm going to have the border radius there. So I come to this Instagram, I have border radius. This one, I can say 20, I can say 9 pixel. Then see what happen here. You will not give up a circle. Can see what you can see what happen here. We now have this circle, this circle square. So we now have it as a circle. So let me just reduce that. Border reduce to 2. All this is inside your textbook. Now let look at what happened here. Okay, link test. Then another one we are having here is um underline having a green background. Are we together? You have a green background in this one. So what we need to do here is simple. What we need to do here is simple. We can just say, okay, let's just type one more element. Let's start just one more element. Let's start the website. We are giving the website a white background. Then also we are giving the website a border. We are giving it the border blue border the around the background. So to do that, we need to give this website a class. The same way we give our Instagram a class to help us start this independently. So what you're going to do is come here, we come to our HTML element, then we come to where are we going? Website, right? Are we starting website or Facebook? Which one should we start first? Let we start Facebook, right? Should we start Facebook? So this is the class for Instagram. If you remove this class, everything you have done so far will go off. So I need to give this man a class. Then in that class, we're having Facebook. And let me style the Facebook for the sake of time. Remember, my brothers. Remember, we already style our Instagram, right? Have we done that? So let me start Facebook. On Facebook, I'll just come here and give border. I will together border. Inside the face, I want to give a border, a border of 20 pixel. Then it's big. Yeah. Let me check 10 pixel. No, 10 pixel. Then the type of our border, solid. The color of our border, blue, light blue. Then just normal blue. So this is what we have. Then let's see what happens. You notice it that this is what we have here. So it's too big. Let's go and reduce it. Reduce the this. Reduce to two. I think two is okay. So this is what we have here. Then another thing also going to add it. The same padding we added here. We are going to add the padding here as well. To have space around the Facebook. To have a various space. Um, Adding. What do we use? Six, right? Six pixel. We use five, not six. So this is what we have. I think we use five, right? What do we use? Five. We use five here. So 5 pixel. So this is what we have. Let's see what we have here. Okay, this is green. We can maintain the blue color. Until let's reduce the blue to two to one. 1 pixel. Okay. I think that's okay. That's okay. Another thing we are going to be doing we are going to be doing is um let's say to add holdover. Like when they come here, it will change. Maybe the holdover of when they bring your mouse here, it will change to blue background, then the white text. Are we together? Any question so far? Any question of the day? You can hit me if you have a question. No question. My student, you people are not responding now. Like I'm talking to myself. Okay. In the ascent operation. So if you look at this Facebook, if you look at this Facebook, if you look at here, we have Facebook, we have Instagram. Now, another thing we're going to be doing here is we can to see how we can to see how we can be able to add a holdover. When you click here, when you click on this particular link, it will show a similar color like a blue background and a white color. Maybe this one will show a white background and a blue right up. So this is it. We can also please you can also centralize this. You can centralize this laptop. Let's just centralize it. This now. Let's centralize this laptop as well. So we can have to centralize that laptop. We need to put this man in a container as well. Remember, this man is not in a container. This laptop is not in a container. This one is in a container. That's why we can be able to move it to right. So we are going to be giving a laptop a container. To give a container div and a class, I can say dot laptop or second header, second second header. Then I enter. This my class I will use to start the second header. Then I need to just copy the whole of this. Then what I'm going to do is come here and paste. Good and fine. So what we are going to be doing next is to copy this our header. Now remember the reason why we are adding this div is to enable us group this particular element into two. So like not into two, but to group it as a one container so that we can move it to the center and be able to use to be able to add one values or properties, any kind of property we want at all. So what you are going to be doing here is to just come here and we can call the header here. To call a class, you need dot, then the name of the class. Press align. You can line to center. So let's see what happens. Now, if you come, you can see this man is now aligned to center. All the content inside this laptop is now aligned to what? Is now aligned to center. We're going to be working on that. So let's learn how we can be able to control. Okay, let's learn how we can be able. Learn how we can add. Um, okay, learn how we can add follow on it to see a different. Remember, our- remember in our previous are you guys with me? Remember in our previous class, we learned how to add whole over here. Now to add that, you need a link, a link, then a whole over. But I don't want to add all. If I use link, that means I'm adding the whole over to all these pages. Let me show you something now, so that you will know what I'm trying to explain. Now let me come up here. Let me call a link, the whole over. If you, I'm going to just let me give you the background. The background of brown. I'm doing this as a test, so you will notice something. Now, when you come here, you see what is happening here. You see what happened, right? Now, I don't want to give the whole over. I don't want the whole over to affect this particular element. I just want the whole over to have effect differently, independently here, to have independently here. I think we've been able to create a class to be able to identify or to be able to name each of these class by their ID, which we are going to be using by their class name to add our whole over. So this here is wrong. Are we together? If we are together, say yes, we are together. I want to hear your voice. Say yes, we are together. It's okay, good and fine. We have about 40 something persons here. So take attendance, very important. So what we are going to be doing, we are going to be having all over here, this and this independently. Remember, we already created independent class. We already created independent class for this our Facebook, this is it, and Instagram. So what we are going to be doing is we are going to be coming to Instagram, Facebook. Let's come from Facebook first. Did the Facebook. We are going to be calling this Facebook. Um, sorry, I've not been using my comments. Forgive me. I've not been using my comments. Okay, we have this. All right. Let's say the code, the code here, this one house, please. The code here is for Facebook. Uh, over, right? Am I not mistaken? Am I not doing mistake? All right. So what we are going to do, we are going to be calling this Facebook class. and you don't know how to call class dot Facebook, then the background, sorry guys, sorry. I also going to, when I call Facebook, I want to give you a whole over background. You put dots, you see we have different options here. H, we are using HO, V, we are using this, whole over, this whole whole over it. Click on it, then we are opening and closing our tab. So we are closing our tab. So what you are going to be doing is background, a whole hover background. We are giving the hover background to blue, dark blue, then the text. Please, um, very very important. After the end of this class, screenshot the training, today's training, go to Twitter and tag Skyline ICT. Well, if you have done that, come to the group and drop your username, Twitter username. I'm going to be recording it by tomorrow morning. If anybody, we have about 41 persons here. If only 5 people, if only 5 people do that, what I'm going to do is that the next class will will give you suspension because you should learn how to follow instruction. We will give you suspension. I will take this very serious. O. I will use my hand to record the both people who have performed the task yesterday. So please let's move ahead. So what you are going to be doing is the whole of the color there is going to be white color. Let's give it the white color. This is the white color. Okay. Let's see what we have here. Are you seeing it? You see what we have here? Guys, are you seeing what we are having here? You people are not even talking. So now you can still do the same thing with Instagram. So when you look at here, we have our header already. Should we continue or should we call it a day? It's 11 o'clock already. If you want us to continue, say yes, yes, yes. If you don't want to continue, say no, no, no.